The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Razacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea, heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning, Stuart, Florida. Good morning, Treasure Coast. And good morning, the world. Or good evening, the world, wherever you might be tuning into this wonderful broadcast on AM radio, WSTU 1450 AM, Treasure Coast's talk station. I would say the heritage station. I've been here for I'm 61 years old, and I think it was here over 50 years ago. So that's how long WSTU has been here. I remember the Glasscocks very well. They used to be the owners. And here I am, 61 years old. I've been on the radio now for close to 11 years with this program. Every single Tuesday from 9 to 10 o'clock, you can hear about how today's modern medical lasers, low-level lasers, not hot lasers, safe lasers, cold laser technology is being used to help people to look better, to feel better, to get rid of belly fat. FDA approved, FDA cleared devices. I'm going to go into that today, exactly what we're using at the Slim Body Laser. And at the same time, these easy pain relief, to inflammation, and to speed up the healing process, what we call biostimulatory action. Bio meaning life, stimulate means to stimulate life using a laser. And when you understand where lasers come from and how lasers, the basis foundation for laser therapy and energy, you'll understand how it can help so many different things. Because it's, as one person described it to me in my office, it's like when your mom blows on your cut or you hurt yourself, excuse me, and she blows on it and it feels better. That's what laser light does. It's like God's light energy, pure energy going into your body and helping correct and to heal and to repair tissue damage, because light is primordial. Light is the beginning of civilization. Our earth is bathed in light. It runs by light. It's fed by light. Your body takes light and turns it into energy through through eating plants and eating other things. It's all about light, you guys. When I understood this, I was enthralled to realize that you're dealing with a primordial energy substance, which is critically important for you. And we don't even know anything about it. It's kind of like when I come in my house and I turn on the light switch and I put on the air conditioner. I don't have to know exactly how it works. I just need to know how to turn it on. Somebody else figured it out for me. And that's the same thing with light. And that's my job here, is to try to explain that to you today. Excuse me. So my office, my name is Dr. Tread Rissacker, just to give you some qualifications about me. I've been in practice for 33 years. I'm a chiropractic physician. I'm licensed in the state of Florida and also in the state of New York, although I have put my license on hold in New York because I haven't been there in quite some time. But I'm licensed to practice in New York, and that's where it all began for me back in Limbrook in 1988 is my first practice with my dad, and that's where I learned how to be a chiropractor. And I went to Martin County High School, graduated in 1979, and I knew at that point that I wanted to become a chiropractor. I just didn't want to do it right away. I wanted to play a little more. So I took some classes at the IR, Indian River Community College. It used to be IRCC. And I took some microbiology and I took some general anatomy. And I actually took one of my first intro to chemistry classes there, which was very difficult. And I was working on my bachelor in science degree because that's what you need to have to be accepted at chiropractic college. And from there, I decided to take a little trip out to California, check out the West Coast. I suggest if you've ever wanted to see it, you should go out and see it for yourself. And maybe it's what you like. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I did take classes out there, and I went to Saddleback Community College in Mission Viejo, California. Took some more classes there, took some more sciences, some of the basic things you need to become a doctor. And I then moved to New York when I was 24 years old. And my dad was practicing there, and I went to Nassau Community College and took some more classes. So I was dragged all my college credits from all over the country. And you can do that. You don't have to go to one college and stay there. You can take your classes and then bring them all together. And Nassau Community College is where I chose to go. And that was really important because I got to see my dad and I got to watch him practice. And I got a feel for it in my youth, as they say, of what it might be to be a chiropractor. And at that point, I found the chiropractic college that I wanted to go to. It was in Kansas City, Missouri. It was called Cleveland Chiropractic College. And I remember selling my four-wheel drive truck, gave up my belongings, and I bought a little Honda hatchback that had some good gas mileage. And I drove up to Kansas City, Missouri, and I began my chiropractic, college. I spent 4 years in Kansas City. The chiropractic college was the most incredibly interesting thing I'd ever done in my life. My dad told me I would enjoy it. I didn't realize how much I would, because I wasn't learning about something I knew nothing about. Although I knew nothing about what I learned, I was learning about my body and how my body works, how the heart works, and the liver and the kidneys, and the way with the filter, the kidney system worked. It was really, really interesting to me. So that was what really, I knew at that point I had an inclination for health and wellness. Graduated in 1988 with a chiropractic degree, went to New York. That week I got out and I sat my New York boards. And the New York board was a 3-day, one-on-one, very difficult examination where you had to show diagnosis, you had to show your ability to read x-rays, you had to show your competence in spinal alignment and managing cases. You needed to know how to refer. It was very difficult. Got out of that with a chiropractic license, and I stayed in New York for 2 years with my dad, and then I did another 10 years on my own until 9/11 came. 9/11 changed everything in my life. I was living in New York. I bet you can remember where you were when the planes hit the Trade Center. I know exactly where I was because my girlfriend called me, woke me up. It was Tuesday morning. I normally don't go in till 3 in the office. And she calls up and says, "Turn on the TV, turn it on." And I'm like, what? She goes, "A plane hit the World Trade Center." Ooh, I turned on that line, and then I saw the second plane hit it. And I knew things were going to change that day. I mean, I could look out my window, and the city's only about 15 miles from me, and I could see the smoke starting to come up off in the distance, off of the tip of Manhattan. And things did change, you know. I don't think things have been the same since, personally, but you know what happened is my practice was in an office on Hempstead Avenue in Limbrook, and it was a 3-story house. It was a big house, and the front was an office. And that type of business became very desirable for other professionals that were trying to get away from the city. So within a year 2 years after 9/11, somebody came up and offered me a price on my house I could not turn down. And I took the shot. I left. And I came to Florida back in 2003 with all my equipment. I had 16 chiropractic tables, 16 of them. I had a full x-ray machine. I had diagnostic equipment. I had a full $100,000 in rehab equipment, Cybex equipment, because I had a big multidiscipline, no-fault worker comp practice in New York. It was two full offices when I closed it. That's how much I wanted to get out of New York, to be here with my family and be back in Florida. I was pretty tired of working for the insurance companies and dealing with attorneys and everything. So when I got back to South Florida, I took about 5 months off. And, that was a long time for me. I had a huge debt that I needed to pay. And I started out on Monterey and US 1 in the what it's called. There's a plaza there. It's the Home Goods Plaza, and a little office. It was a hearing RX center. It had a front counter. It had 2 adjusting rooms, and I put my x-ray in the back, and I started over from scratch without any practice at all. By the end of that year, I was seeing over 100 to 150 people a week. And the owner of the plaza offered me a much larger space within the plaza. There used to be the Buffet King back there where you see Orange Theory. And it was a 3,500 square foot build out, $100,000 to build it out. And I had to sign a 10-year lease, and I couldn't do it fast enough. And I went to that new larger location, and I ended up to about 300 to 400 people a week in less than 3 years. And that was, serving and helping and adjusting and just, loving people as much as what a chiropractor does. And in 2008, the kind of the financial crisis came, and I knew something had to change. So at that point, I ended up being introduced to my laser therapy that I'm using today. This was in 2008. By the way, you're listening to Dr. Tread Wersacker. I'm here at the Slim Body Laser Spa. You can lose 3 to 9 inches of stubborn fat while you lie on your back and listen to music. It's that easy. It's called a laser, and it's FDA cleared, and it's FDA approved, and you got to check it out. And this is how I got started in it, as a chiropractor, and then moving back to South Florida, and then realizing in 2008 that at 24 years of practice, here I am seeing 400 people a week. And the only way I'm going to make any money besides where I was for many years is to double that volume. And that's a lot of people. So this young chiropractor came in to cover my office in August of 2009. And he said, what do I do when someone's in a lot of pain, Doc? Do you have something I can, do you have a laser? And I'm like, why would I have a laser if someone's in a lot of pain? And, we see people in pain in chiropractic, disc herniation, stiff necks, painful shoulders, leg pain, you name it. It's a lot of pain. And we don't use drugs in chiropractic, and we don't use injections, but we do use ice. And we do recommend medical intervention if someone's in a lot of pain, which is what I told him. Heck, if they're in a lot of pain, and send them to the doctor and get them back. They're not going to fix the problem, but maybe you need to treat the pain. And he says to me, don't you have a laser? Laser. Why would I have a laser? Well, I got to cut the cut the extremity off with I thought they were all hot lasers, cutting laser. And he says, no, they're not hot lasers. Those are class 4. He said, these are class 3B, meaning they're low level cold laser technology. And that means it's using light in the red spectrum, which is 628 nanometers, to the near infrared, to the infrared spectrum, which is in the 900 and the 1000 nanometers for you techies out there. And when you apply that level of light at a very low power, which is less than a half a watt, which is low power, doesn't burn, it stimulates the body to repair itself. And I was like, are you kidding me? How can that happen? I don't understand. There's light all around me. Why isn't my body repairing itself? Right? I didn't understand. And he also said the pain relief is like 50% pain relief after shining it for 2 to 3 minutes. And it reduces inflammation. It lowers the inflammatory response. Now, these are foundational principles of treatment of pain. Is, you want something to lessen the pain, so they give you something to block the pain signals called a medical drug, and then they give you something to stop the inflammatory response, which is called an anti-inflammatory medication. And these all have side effects, and they're toxic, and they create tissue problems. But they've never had anything that could speed up the healing, that could make it heal faster, as the light does. So he got my attention really fast. And he said that he had left an office up in Orlando, where the guy had been one of the developers of some of this red light laser technology. And the guy was seeing, hundreds of people a day, and they were paying for it because it worked. And he got my attention. So he gave me a website. I went online. It was called the Microlight Ml830, and it was a low-level cold laser class 3B device that looked like a flashlight. And it was $3,500, which was quite steep for a flashlight. And it came with a protocol to fix carpal tunnel syndrome. And it had they had research and scientific studies that showed that carpal tunnel syndrome, which is where your nerve in your wrist can become compressed by the bones. Carpal means the wrist bones, and the tunnel is looking at your hand like a tunnel. Those nerve can get compressed in there and squished from moving your fingers a lot or from an injury. And then what happens is the wrist and the hand aches terribly. The hand gets like contractures and they lose strength in it. And it's a real problem if you're somebody who works in a factory. And GM paid for the study, General Motors, because they lost a lot of money to carpal tunnel syndrome. I think the average cost for the surgery back 20 years ago was like 20 grand just for the surgery, not to mention the disability and having to retrain them if they could go back to work at all. So they used this cold laser microlight as their study to show that they could resolve carpal tunnel syndrome in like 2 weeks. If it was a recent onset, they could bring somebody after having surgery, repair the tissue within like 6 weeks, where they could go back to work by shining this cold laser on their wrist. And it was like, oh my God, this thing really works. And that's what the FDA approved, the use of cold laser for wrist injuries, for this carpal tunnel. And from that approval, a joint is a joint, right? You have joints in your knees, your wrist, your elbows. The same protocol could be applied to your elbow, to your wrist, to your knee. So that opened up an enormous cornucopia of symptoms that you could treat with this cold laser technology. And I sat there and I thought about it. And of course, I bought the one machine. And I realized that, you know what? Most of my patients that have these problems, I'm kind of ignoring them because I'm a chiropractor and I deal with neck and back and those structures related to that. I don't specialize in knees or shoulders or ankles or wrists. they show up with these problems. And since I don't really have a solution for them other than adjusting and teaching them how to take care of themselves, which is important, they would go and have injections and they would be taking pills because they want to play tennis or they want to golf. And this pain is not going to stop them from golf. And so they take medication to shut off the pain. And then, of course, we know what happens is it gets worse. It festers and you don't really fix the problem. You're just numbing the pain until eventually you need a joint replacement. So I saw the laser as a solution for these people. And boy, was I right. I was right on that one. And this laser was a superstar. I mean, some people, I would put it on a shoulder injury that's been chronic for 2 years, rotator cuff tear, failed surgeries. You hold that laser 4 or 5 times on them over 2 weeks, and the shoulder is like 80% improved. They could lift it above their arm. The pain at night is gone. I mean, and I was like, wow, how did that work? I had a gentleman come in who had the worst torticollis, stiff neck I'd ever seen in my life in practice. He was in his 80s and he had had a stiff neck for a year and a half. He actually had both of his knees replaced by the surgeons at Martin Memorial at the same time while he had this stiff neck. The neck problem never went away for him. When he got out of the Martin Memorial and into rehab, and then they helped him with his knees, he still had this stiff neck. And when I mean a stiff neck, I mean a 10, the kind that when you get up from laying down, you got to hold your head. It's called rust sign. And he showed up in my office and he told me his story. And I thought, well, I can help you for sure. I just gotten this laser. People, this is a true story. I would not kid you. So I have techniques where you lay them on their stomach and you can adjust the upper back. You can do some gentle stretching, some trigger point work. What I was taught in school, everything I did was like agonizing to this guy. I mean, I spent 2 weeks literally just beating him up, trying to resolve this problem. And I finally looked at him and I said, you know what, sir? And I'm not going to give you his name. I said, I have this new cold laser technology. Would you mind if I try it? I won't charge you because I don't know if it's going to work, but I know it won't make things worse. Sure. I took that cold laser and I marked an area under his occiput, right under the base of the skull on the left and the right side, midway down about C3. I did 2 more spots and I did 2 more spots at the bottom of his top of his trapezius. And you held it for 3 minutes. And then you did 3 minutes on one side, 3 minutes, another 3, another 3, another 3. It was like, 15 minutes of moving this thing around. No sensation, no heat comes out of it. You even wonder if it's on. Well, he comes back the next day and he shows me, he says, I'm 50% improved in my range of motion. Look at this. And he was able to turn his neck left and right. The achiness he had was gone when he went home that night. This is one treatment with this laser thing. And I was like, wow. And I was like, you want to do it again? He's like, yeah, let's do it again. I did it 2 more times. It completely resolved his stiff neck. He never had it come back. And I was floored because, even the tissue healing time to repair something, when you look at the law of the ligament, is a year for something to heal. A broken arm won't heal in less than 6 weeks, no matter what you do. A cut takes a certain amount of time to heal. How could this device create this healing response in like a magic wand? And it really, really, really got my attention. And I started using it on as many people as would let me. It's safe technology. I made sure that they were examined and I wasn't putting on something with cancer, of course, but mainly musculoskeletal problems, knee problems, shoulder problems, wrist problems, elbow problems. And what I found is that the process worked really, really well if somebody could touch it and show you the problem where it was. Like if somebody could reach up and say, it hurts right here on my elbow or my toe, I have this pain between my toes. It hurts right here. or the heel spur. It hurts right along my heel. The machine worked very, very well for that. But when it was diffuse pain that was deep within the tissue, deep within the joint, it wasn't as effective. So as a result of that not being as effective, I didn't know why it wasn't effective. And then I learned by studying it and taking some classes about the effects of light, that the light has to penetrate into the tissue deep enough to reach the tissue. So if you've got a area that's been damaged and it's 2 or 3 inches down underneath your skin, a little cold laser is not really likely to reach it very easily. You have to hold it there for a really long time. And when it comes to medical treatments, you want something that's quick. So I found the solution, and it was at another seminar that I went to down in South Florida with the North American Low-Level Laser Conference, and they had a device called a deep tissue laser. It's the same red light, but it has the ability to penetrate deeper. And the machine was a lot more money. It was like $15,000 versus that first one was $3,000. So that was a big jump in cost. But I knew in my heart that this had merit, that this could help people. And I started to using the deep tissue laser. Now, the deep tissue laser is a class 4 device. It can, if you don't use it correctly, cause a burn. So you have to be very cognizant that you're moving it and you're checking the temperature. And if somebody has numbness, there's things that doctors have to do to make sure you don't hurt somebody, just like a needle can hurt you if it's stuck in the wrong spot. So I couldn't believe the result that came from that deep tissue laser. Oh my God. I was able to treat neuropathy down both legs, sciatica that began in the L5 and went down into the buttock all the way down to the foot. You could use that laser and just, it's like painting it. It's like taking a brush and painting it. And then I found out that you could treat a shoulder, a frozen shoulder, in 10 minutes, where you did the front of the rotator cuff under the armpit, the scapularis muscles up into the neck, and combine it with chiropractic alignment and common sense nutritional support instead of taking drugs and pills. These people were recovering from these injuries. And I had found something that came as a result of me struggling in 2008. So, that was what I called the laser heel pain relief. And that's what I did over in Monterey up until about 2010. And I continue to do it. By the way, you're listening to Dr. Tread's Slim Body Laser Spa. I'm a chiropractic physician. I'm licensed here in the state of Florida, and I'm using lasers to help people to look better, to feel better, to get rid of pain if they have it. We have another office in Jensen Beach that does the pain relief. But I'm using these lasers to get rid of belly fat. I mean, copious amounts of stubborn spillover fat. The stuff that when you put your pants on and it comes over the top, we can fix that safely, without any downtime, without any injury, a very gentle process that actually allows you to be healthier, not just look better with scars and holes for drainage, which is what other people do, other doctors do to get rid of that belly fat. This is a really safe process, and I learned about it in 2010. So we have free consultations. As always, we're located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market, down the road from the beaches on Stewart Causeway. It's next to the Carmela's Pizza Restaurant, so you can come in for your consult. And if it's not something you want to do, you can always go over to Carmela's and have a nice carbohydrate meal. Good luck. They got a lot of nice pasta there, and they're making people fatter than we can make them skinnier. I promise you that. That's what food does if you're not careful. But I'm just making fun of that. We are in the Carmela's Plaza, and there's a big fountain out there. You're more than welcome to come in. We do have a few openings today and later on this week. If you want to call us right now, if you like what you're hearing, pick up that phone, 772-223-5885. Make that appointment. Go on your own phone and say into your search, your Google Assistant or your Apple, Dr. Tread Slim Body Laser Spa, and it'll come up with my website. It'll have a call number and a contact. Hit the contact, and you can make an appointment, and you can come in for that free consultation right here today and find out if we can help you. All right. So again, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to Dr. Tread Rissacker, and I'm explaining a little bit about how I was introduced to the lasers. I think it's a great story. I'm a chiropractor for many years, and through 20 years or so of bending over and doing what chiropractors do, I felt that I needed to have a little change in my career, and I was introduced to these low-level lasers, this cold laser technology. If you don't know anything about it, please pay attention, because I'm going to explain a little bit about lasers in just a moment here. They can be used for pain relief, for getting rid of belly fat, and this is how they work. All right. So what happens is when you look visible light, which you see with your eyes, and you look around, you're looking at a very narrow spectrum of energy, which is called visible light. So think of a rainbow, and you see the rainbow. It shows yellows, greens, blues, reds, purple, and then it goes into near infrared where you can't see it, infrared, which is what you feel, the heat you feel, and then far infrared. And what they have found is that the red light and near infrared and far infrared, those wavelengths are very, very beneficial to your body. They help your body to heal itself and to repair itself. And it's as old as time. You were born in light. Your ancestors, your cave people, they woke up to light. They went to sleep when it was dark. They had light bathe their skin. They ate plants, which took the light, the radiant energy from the sun, turned it into starch, and they ate the starch, and they got the energy from the sun because of what they ate. That's how we get energy. The energy that's in your food that powers your body is not from the food, it's from the sun. It's radiant energy, photon energy, which has been absorbed by plants, and the bonds that hold together, the starch together, those bonds is pure energy. And when you eat that plant, you break those bonds, and those bonds release energy into your cells. And that energy is what powers your machine, not the food. The food rebuilds the machine. It helps get rid of toxins. The fiber helps to keep your digestive tract clean and functioning properly. And all the nutrients, the carbons, the oxygens, the nitrogen, the minerals, they rebuild your tissue. They rebuild your body. But that's not where the energy is. The energy is within those bonds. Now, the reason why an animal gives us energy too is because they ate the starch. They ate that energy, and it actually is part of a protein molecule. So the proteins and the fats have energy too within them. And when we eat protein and we eat fat, we release that energy. Not as efficient as live food, though. Understand that. Fresh vegetables and fruits have more energy in the bonds than proteins and fats. And that's why we have to have a varied diet. You need to have protein, fat, and carbohydrate. And that's how we get this energy. And what they have found out is that tissue cells, your individual tissue cells, muscle cells, ligament cells, fat cells, all respond to light in different ways. One color of light, which is red, and you put it at a very low power, causes the cells to open up, causes what they call permeability. So the fat cells release the contents when you put the light on it. And then your body absorbs the fatty acids. As long as you haven't eaten in 2 hours and you do whole body vibration, you're going to get rid of that caloric load. That's what we do at the laser spa. Other lights, the infrared and the near infrared, these higher energies, these 900, which you cannot see with your eye. People have to protect their eyes with glasses when you use these technology. This is what we're using for the tissue repair, pain, and inflammation to get rid of that, of these higher energy ones, along with red light too. So they might have several spectrums within a laser. The class 4 lasers are more powerful and they allow you to do it faster with less downtime, but they're still the same energy. It's just more power. And again, you have to wear goggles and you need to protect your eyes and protect the client, the patient's eyes also. And it is mind-blowing how well it works. Laser simply means light that's amplified, stimulated, emitted radiation, LASER. And so what happens is the laser light, you can get it from what they call a diode. You have red diodes, blue ones, green ones, infrared, near-infrared diodes. And those diodes are where the light comes out of, and it's very specific for that color. And then you can change the power output like you would with a dimming switch, either more power or less power. And that's how you would apply that. These really work. And the first thing you're saying is it covered by my insurance? And I would tell you for the most part, no. It is technology which is disruptive. It is disruptive in the fact that if you get help with a laser, you're not going to need those pills. You're not going to need all those medications. You probably won't need all those injections, those steroid injections, the nerve blocks and all the stuff that the medical profession recommends for pain and for these injuries. You'll still need therapy because therapy is good, but the therapy will be more effective if you include laser with it, because the laser helps soften the effectiveness, the pain from therapy. In other words, when somebody moves your shoulder around and it hurts and you don't want to go back, the laser can help relieve that pain between the treatments, so it makes it better to do therapy. But again, it's not covered by insurance. So this is why you don't see a lot of it out there. But hey, I have a sign at my office. It's very clear. It says, just because your insurance pays for it doesn't mean it's a good idea. Think about that. Right on the wall. Just because your insurance pays for it does not mean it's a good idea when it comes to healthcare. And boy, if that isn't the truth. So that's what we're doing there at the Slim Body Spa. I highly suggest, we have free consultations. You can do the contact page, Dr. Tread Slim Body Laser Spa. You can read the testimonials. They call them love letters. You can see all the before and after pictures. We have 60 love letters written in hand by our clients. We have over 600 in the office, but we have 60 online, and they are the real deal. You won't have any problem realizing that we didn't make these fake. It's not fake news here. And you also have a video and a podcast page. You can hear some of my talk radio stuff. You can hear different clients and tell you about their experience. And then you can learn about the process. There's a video that shows how it works. And you can then hit the contact page, because without you coming in and using it, you'll never know if it works. By the way, we're over 6,000 clients have been in to see us. So that's pretty huge. All right. So you're listening to the Slim Body Laser Spa Health and Wellness Show. I can be heard every single Tuesday from 9 to 10 o'clock right here on WSTU. Or you can go on Thursday. I have a simulcast from 11 to 12 on WPSL, which is a much larger station. A lot more people listen to it. And I do hope that you tell people about it, because this could really change your life. If you could find a solution for your pain that doesn't involve a pill, a drug, a shot, an injection, or a surgical procedure, right? Something that is disruptive because it really works. Why wouldn't you try it? It just makes sense to me. I don't want to be popping pills the rest of my life, because you know what happens with pills? They only numb the pain. They don't really fix the problem. And if you have a degenerative joint that is grinding together because your alignment is off and it's not it's inflamed all the time, and you're taking a drug just to stop the inflammation, or so you don't feel the pain every time you go shopping, and then you have to take more pills and more pills, eventually your knee is going to turn into Swiss cheese, and you're going to have a knee replacement. You don't think that they know that they haven't set it up that way? Well, then you haven't been watching the news. So, non-invasive body contouring has become one of the fastest growing areas of aesthetic medicine. Many patients appear to prefer non-surgical, less invasive procedures owing to the benefits of fewer side effects and shorter recovery times. Boy, who doesn't want that? Increasingly, 635 nanometer, which is red light, low-level laser therapy, which is what we're using at the Slim Body Laser Spa, has been used in the treatment of a variety of medical conditions and has been shown to improve wound healing, reduce edema, and relieve acute pain. Cold laser, man. Within the past decade, which is only 10 years, low-level laser therapy has also emerged as a new modality for non-invasive body contouring. Research has shown that low-level laser is effective in reducing overall body circumference measurements of specifically treated regions, including the hips, the waist, the thighs, and upper arms, with recent studies demonstrating the long-term effectiveness of results. Did you just hear that? It's shown that low-level laser therapy is effective in reducing overall body circumference measurements. In other words, your girth of specially treated regions, spot fat, maybe just your legs, just your stomach, including the hips, waist, thighs, and upper arms. These recent studies also demonstrate the long-term effectiveness and lasting results following the process. The treatment is painless, and there appears to be no adverse events associated with low-level laser therapy. The mechanism of action of low-level laser therapy and body contouring is believed to stem from photoactivation of cytochrome C oxidase within hypertrophic adipocytes, or those would be adipocytes that are filled with fat, which in turn affects intracellular secondary cascades, resulting in the formation of transitory pores, little openings within the adipocyte, within the fat cell membrane. The secondary cascades involved but may include, but are not limited to, activation of cytosolic lipase and nitric oxide. Newly formed pores release intracellular lipids, which are further metabolized. Further studies need to fully outline the cellular and systemic effects. This is a paper from the Cutaneous Medicine and Surgery Guidelines. This is called Body Contouring. I'll hold it up in front of the Facebook camera here. This is scientific research of what we're using at the spa. I can tell you after 6,000 people that it works, but here's the truth about it. Striving for a youthful appearance has become so important in Western society that even small imperfections on the body are now scrutinized. Tissue laxity and generalized and localized subcutaneous fat deposits are increasingly common complaints among cosmetic patients. As a result, the number of procedures performed for body contouring has increased exponentially. Chronologic aging, photoaging, or substantial changes in body dimensions experienced during pregnancy or weight loss can all contribute to the formation of localized and generalized fatty deposits, as well as loose skin. Additionally, over the past 10 years, the population as a whole has become increasingly overweight, and at the same time, they have become more accepting of advances in aesthetic technology, including non-surgical management of fat and body contouring. From the advent of liposuction in the late 1970s and early 1980s, the practice of body contouring has seen the growth of more effective and less risky liposuction techniques. They're getting better at it. And this has evolved in the direction of minimally invasive procedures. Non-invasive body contouring is one of the most appealing aspects of cosmetic surgery today, owing to the demand for safer and less invasive procedures that offer a quicker recovery, fewer side effects, and less discomfort. Helping drive non-invasive body contouring are new therapeutic modalities that offer patients a less invasive alternative. Accordingly, cosmetic patients are becoming more reluctant to undergo surgical procedures that involve hospitalization, anesthetics, pain, swelling, longer recovery periods, and in general, the risks involved with surgery. Although liposuction is still the number one invasive cosmetic procedure performed today, non-invasive body contouring is the fastest growing segment of the aesthetic capital equipment space. A variety of delivery mechanisms have been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to achieve body slimming without surgery. These include endermology, ultrasonography, infrared radiofrequency, cryolipolysis, and low-level laser. We're using low-level laser, just so you know. Cryolipolysis is the cool sculpting. Radiofrequency is the Vela machine, or the another type of machine. So low-level laser therapy uses a mechanism devoid of any heat. It does not create any heat, and instead activates adipocyte lipolysis without damaging the fat cell. Originally, it emerged as an effective therapy for breast augmentation and lipoplasty, improving the case of extraction during liposuction, as well as reduced post-surgical pain. After numerous multi-site randomized controlled double-blinded studies, low-level laser therapy has developed into a substantial therapeutic option for circumferential reduction of waist, hips, thighs, and upper arms. All right, you guys, this is a very technical paper. I'm not going to go into it that much, considering there is 17 pages. I only read the first 2, but here's the conclusion. Sorry. Here's the conclusion. Non-invasive body contouring has become a popular solution to deal with unwanted fat. Low-level laser therapy has previously been used for a wide variety of medical conditions that include wound healing, reduction of edema, and pain relief. Within the past decade, it has become the newest modality for non-invasive body contouring, treating a patient population that is shying away from surgical cosmetic procedures and opting for less invasive and safer options. Research has demonstrated that low-level laser therapy can reduce overall body circumference measurements of specifically treated as well as non-treated remote regions. It has been proven effective and cleared by the FDA for the reduction of circumference of hips, waist, thighs, and most recently, upper arms. Recent studies indicate that the results of low-level laser therapy are long-lasting, if not permanent. With no adverse events to report to date, low-level laser therapy appears to be both safe and effective for fat reduction and body slimming. So that's up in the camera. That's the paper. And you know what? Can you believe that we have it right here in Stuart, Florida? It's shocking. This other picture here, this shows the untreated fat cells here. After 6 minutes, it shows the cells being destroyed. After 8 to 10 minutes, it shows the cells being completely collapsed. Start, middle, end. That's how it works. This other picture down low shows the cell membrane where the wall has been busted open by the energy. And that's where the fatty acid leaks out. So that's the cell membrane there. Over here is where you see the break in the wall after less than 2 to 3 minutes of laser energy. So this process actually opens up the fat cells under your skin. And it does so every time without any, it always does it because it's an energy and the fat cells are close to the surface. So they're easy to done. You don't have to wonder if it worked or not. It always works. The challenge is, what do you do with the fat once it's opened up? Once it leaves the fat cell, where does it go? I can tell you this, that's where the skills of a holistic, natural-based chiropractic office are really important. I can do nutrition. I can do detoxification. I can recommend whole body vibration. I can recommend hormone replacement. I can recommend blood work, hormonal panels. I can do all of that stuff. I'm a doctor. rarely do we need to do that. 80% of you will lose inches and get rid of the fat, and you won't even know you did it. But there is that 20% that need that little extra help, and we're able to handle that, which is why we're so darn effective. Our program is 3 times a week for 3 weeks. That's 9 sessions in 3 weeks. Each session is about an hour long, so you can expect to be there for an hour 3 times a week. It includes the full use of the laser, whole body vibration, of course, the consultation with me. It also includes a nutritional evaluation where we can go over your body fat percentages, help you with the food plan that you need to do. If you need help with food, we can help you there. We also have, we guarantee a 3-inch loss. We take measurements, we take pictures, and we guarantee results. That whole plan is $2,800. That's $311 per session. We do have help with financing through Care Credit, 0% interest for 12 months. You can put it on a credit card. We can work with you. We have a lot of success. And if you're having financial issues or you get paid monthly or something, you come in and talk to us. We really want to be helpful. And we're looking for people that are really more committed to getting better than they are